because it's good to see.
Yeah.
It's good to see as well.
It's good to see in somebody else's mind what they think. You know, somebody's thought that all out, haven't they? Like, whoa.
But the belief system as well, because when he went back to his wife and he was speaking to her, she said, but I did it for you or something. And it was that thought that he implanted in her mind or something of the belief. Wow, that was really good.
But that thing about having a thought implanted in your mind, we've all got, haven't we? We've all got beliefs from childhood and stuff that we've had implanted. And one can make such a big difference. One created that film, didn't it?
Yeah. And how I'd like to say, John, are you on the train now? So if you fall asleep and somebody puts something on you.
We're implanting ideas into each other's head. That's what Jono does to us every day. He keeps embedding stuff into our brain.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's all good.
Carry on, yeah. Any other thoughts about Inception?
I saw it years ago. I didn't see it this weekend, actually. I've got it somewhere, but it's not unpacked. So I think that's probably one of the things that made me feel negative, that I've still got all these boxes that haven't been unpacked, and it's a lot of rubbish.
That's symbolic, isn't it?
It's
unpacking of our stuff.
Yeah, but it's mostly rubbish, so that's even more symbolic, isn't it? There's all this rubbish that I just don't need.
Well, it can be thrown away, let go of, really.
Well, I've got 6 boxes or more actually of Eric's stuff that he couldn't sort out, but wouldn't let me touch. What does that mean?
Have you EAM'd it? Let it go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can feel it coming up now. Do some work for him again.
Please.
Are you going to
Scotland?
Is that where you're travelling up to, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm going up to Glasgow.
All right. Okay, long journey then.
Do some 4.5 hours on actually, just kind of.
Dodgy connection there, isn't it?
And I think I'm going to leave, actually, because I don't think I can. I've got so many other things to do. I love our time together, but I feel better for just saying hello to everybody, to be honest. It's a nice little reminder of what we're doing, and we're all in this together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Thanks, Jono.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care,
Okay, Ed. So, yeah, any other thoughts about Inception?
No.
Susie?
No, just a great movie. Great. I love the shares because it's so on point. And definitely worth another watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much in that movie related to the metaphysics of the Course. It's quite extraordinary. So, whoever wrote it, Christopher Nolan, I think, director. I'm not sure who wrote the script, but clearly there's an understanding of that we're in, and it's a movie that's questioning reality. That final scene is brilliant, where he's spinning the top, and the top just, and you're not sure. It's like what, and then it cuts. It's like, it leaves you to one of the best endings to a movie I've seen. It's like, okay, is this reality? That's the final question, that final scene. Let's have a look. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for away. Great.
Right, it's working. Yes, it's working.
Great. I have power now, so I have power. So Wi-Fi power. So just a couple of other themes I wanted to mention. That movie is really about projection and perception, primarily. What if you remember when Leonardo DiCaprio was explaining to the young girl, and he drew a little diagram. He said, what we do is we project, and then so we create the dream, and we do and we feel like we're doing it. And that's what we're doing in this so-called reality.
Makes you wonder when you're acting like that, if you really take it on board and you're, gosh, they have to study the stuff they're doing, don't they?
Is, you know, we're in a dream.
Can't really hear you, Jono.
There's layers and layers, levels and levels of the dream. So you can go deep to the basement level. The basement level.
You're dipping in and out.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
Try another internet. Okay. Mobile hotspot. Let's try mobile hotspot. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I don't think it's the hearing. I think it's the dipping in and out. You've gone.
Yeah, they haven't got the continuity of a sentence.
No. I mean, it's good job for him doing this. It's fantastic that.
How are you, Susie, then?
I'm all right, not too bad. I was just saying, like, to Yad that I'm not really doing anything else at the minute, just this. But because we speak so openly about the ego, I think there's stuff just kicking off all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like you go to sleep, you wake up and you're like, wow, it's not really Groundhog Day, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes, you're really diving in and doing the work then.
Yes, yeah, because I mean, like I said to Yad, I've been doing some of them every half an hour because it's like my head's just so. I don't know how I would be working or anything.
It's funny, isn't it?
It is. But I do think I want to be doing something, so my mind's not so focused on this. But
mine comes all connected. It seems like I keep having. Go on.
In a movie, projection perception was a major one, and the dream, and then.
I don't think it's happening today.
No, I don't think it's going to work.
Leonardo DiCaprio's mind.
No, we need to let him know.
Can you not hear me?
No, we're struggling.
No.
Dropping in and out. Okay. Let me see if I can get onto another connection.
So what did you used to do, Susie, before you stopped work?
Happiness coach.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So, and telling people to look within, but getting to the point of then seeing others that were probably in denial about a lot of things in their life, and so was I, you know. Yeah, but I did a lot of stuff before, you know, like I'd always wanted to help people. So I was working domestic violence, suicide, and, you know, NHS, and it was good. I did some like Ready, Steady, Love to start loving yourself. But then I think I fell off the pedal, and I think, and then I did another one like being positive, you know. And then I released my book. I released a book in 2016 called You Are Enough. Not 2016, 2018. I had to go and see a therapist then. And she says, you've written a book, but you don't believe it, do you? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then she said to me, do some EDMR. Is it EDMR, the eye stuff? And he says to me, I think you've been using positive thinking and gratitude as a coping mechanism. And I was just kept falling deeper and deeper into something. I don't know what.
But we teach what we want to learn, don't we? So
yes. Yeah, but and I guess not keeping that up, because it kind of brought me in rather than out. Because obviously after doing stuff like this, you started to realise you were doing it outwards, inwards, rather than inwards, outwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it led you here to the next stage.
Yeah. Yeah. I went back out to work. I did some stuff. I was all right. And then I did some emotional fitness, which was about accepting and letting go. Yeah, so they've not stayed long. It's not been a long time. It's always been sporadic. You know, like, oh, there must be something else. There must be so there's obviously a fixer going off, which is the ego.
Yeah.
Wanting to fix, but fixing me, and I'm thinking there's nothing to fix, but obviously subconsciously there is. And that's what stops me on everything, I think. And that's what I thought, oh, can't help anybody else if I can't help myself.
Well, it's a journey, isn't it? You can help for a while, and then you realise you've got to do some more work before you can go back to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Say hello to Iona. Hi, Iona.
Hi there. Can you see me or hear me? Okay.
Is Iona there?
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi there.
Yeah.
As you can't see me, but I'm on the train. So.
Okay, cool.
Hence my videos off because the bandwidth isn't good. But
yeah.
Just kind of letting the group take this session.
Okay, cool.
Go with it.
I'm in my studio on my. It doesn't allow me video, but if you can hear me, that's great, and I'm very happy to hear you all.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. That's great.
Okay. Yeah.
Great, you're on your way. That's exciting.
12:30.
I don't think the connection's going to be good enough today.
No. How are you doing, Sally?
I'm very good. Very, very good. How are you?
I am excited to meet Jono, and I feel really good. It's been quite a stormy time. These ego assaults kind of dragged me into the underworld, and it's been a deep one. But
assaults, that's a good word.
Ego assault, absolutely.
Assaulted by the ego. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And I felt really bruised and battered by this last one. But you know, again we rise, do we not?
Yeah. Do you find that the periods of feeling a bit battered are shorter?
I was hoping that the periods in between the batterings were getting shorter. I mean longer. But I really increased in intensity recently.
Yeah.
So I would quite like there to be a bit of a gap now. And it's
not sure we get that choice, do we?
You're right. You're right. I feel like this ego assailant is really rolling up its sleeves. All right, that didn't work. We're going to have to try something else. And it's
good sign then. It means you're getting closer.
I believe that. I really believe that. And I think that it's just so important to keep tuning in, even if it's late at night, even if you've got other things to do, just to be reminded of fellow companions along the way, because it can be lonely and awful. Yeah, really, really, really awful. So feel like
hi there, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, hi, Jono. Yeah.
Just talking to my owner about the ego battle.
Ego assaults. But yeah. I feel very cheerful this morning. I feel cheerful, on song, in my studio doing some collage work, which is nice, and mindful activity.
It seems to me, from my point of view, Iona, that you've got quite a good tribe around you.
Quite a good
tribe. Tribe.
I do. I have a tribe. That's absolutely right. And the people I'm, physically close to at the moment, Lucy and Jono, it's daily checking in. I'm not alone. No way. And you too, Sally. Seems like you have a tribe.
Yeah, everything's pretty good here. I feel like, something's changed since meeting Jono. I'm a bit more dedicated to doing this work now, and more dedicated to self-care and to keep it going. And I think I gave too much before and didn't revive myself enough. So, I appreciate being here.
I've done exactly the same, Sally. I've had things like a manicure and a lovely haircut, and then I went to see a herbalist who gave me these incredibly powerful herbs to balance things out hormonally, and including a wonderful herb called agrimony, which sounds like the root of aggression. And oh man, it did open a door into my angry department.
All right.
And that was excellent. No, she said, no more Mrs. Nice and accepting. Because you're making yourself really angry doing that. And it's been brilliant, actually. So good self-care is incredibly important.
Yeah, essential.
Yes.
We're not really trained to do it, are we?
I never watched my mother doing that.
No.
Ever.
It was deemed selfish, wasn't it?
Yeah, self-indulgent. Oh, you don't need that.
But we do. And more so, I think in this lifetime, more so than ever.
Yes. It's wonderful. So many
say to me to do all this spiritual practice and really dedicate yourself to a spiritual path, which is a classic ego response to dedication to God. So it's quite normal.
Quite normal.
What's quite normal?
I think the fierce ego are quite normal.
Yeah. It's enough to put anybody off the journey, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is. If I knew how awful and ghastly some of the nights have been, it's not to be faint-hearted, but that's what Yeshua says. And sometimes it can appear to me that I'm taking a long time with this, but he's saying, no, this is fast track. This is the fast track to awaken.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It may seem slow, but compared to many lifetimes, it's actually quite quick. If you can do it in 20, 30 years of the rest of your life in this incarnation, you're doing very well.
Wow.
Just 20 to 30 years then, Iona.
That's it. Just another 19 and a half to go.
Yeah. I just want to be able to take the week off and just lay out in the hammock in the garden, but I don't see that happening.
Why not?
I think life comes at you wherever you are, even if you're outside in the hammock.
But at least you're in your hammock.
Yeah.
That sounds an important thing to do, Sally.
Yeah, I know. I've got it booked in my diary for next month or whenever it is. Yeah.
Oh, but it is this next month now. It's the first.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks' time, I think I've got the week off where I'm just going to do nothing.
Whew. Well, you know, this work has taught me don't delay your pleasures, take them now.
Yeah.
You remember Sandy's voice? There only is the present moment. That's all there is.
Yeah.
Even if it's 2 minutes in the hammock or 10 minutes.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, it was interesting yesterday. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
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 Well, we did.
A lot of stuff's happening with this retreat and coming up.
No, we lost you again.
Okay. I'll limit my sharing.
Oh, it's interesting.
I was just saying that I had a experience yesterday where we went out, had some time, and then we went out for a walk, and part of my mind was saying, you really got a lot of work to do to get ready for this trip, and you've still got to finish a web page, but I just let go in the moment. Said, you know what, going for half an hour walk is just being completely present and enjoying the moment, and not thinking about anything other than what was happening right now, which is wonderful. Actually, it's just such a nice break from having to work and plan and organize stuff, and it's just like, okay, just go into the meadows and played with my son for half an hour, and it was just a reminder. It's great. Like, this is what it's about. All of the work and the mind training is about these moments where you can just be completely present.
Yeah.
And then it's
not worry about anything else in that moment. It's just purely present. I had a couple of moments where I was like, sleeping. So the ego tries to come in and sabotage the present moment.
Yeah.
But actually, well, this is it. This is be what's happening in the next 24 hours. And it was a great break. It's just like half an hour window of completely present and doing something just to be in the moment of it. No like working for the future. So it's a good reminder of what it's all about, really.
Yes.
The dangers is they're working away on it. It can be spiritual stuff, quote unquote. You're still working and planning for the future. So a trip like this, there's quite a bit of planning and organization, and I get things done. And then subtly takes you out of just do something here now, and there's no future outcome at all. It's just purely present. there's no expectation of anything other than that present moment. It was lovely. What it's really about.
Wonderful.
And I think that reminded me for this whole trip, just be completely present.
Yeah.
Everything's the software program in the moment, and that's. I'm looking forward to the journey. It's going to be a very interesting 5 days.
Indeed.
I'm looking forward to meeting you and Lucy as well.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so all the months on the sofa.
Yeah.
To actually meet in person. It's quite cool.
And you're gonna have time to take a wonderful treatment from Kenneth.
Yeah, and Kenneth. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'd like to actually do a session with him, like
a treatment session.
That's awesome.
Yes, he's absolutely. He wants to give you a wonderful session treatment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. Great.
So Iona, what does Kenneth do? He's a healer, is he? A hands-on healer?
He sure is. Yeah, he's always had a wonderful intuitive gift. He sees pain visually. It shows up in color around a person, and then he taps into a lot of assistance, and is allowed to work this way. He was trained by a Tibetan Lama and a Chinese Zen monk and Japanese monk in Sweden, who could see in him his ability, his previous experience in other lands, and he's very powerful. Yeah.
That's handy, living with someone like that.
Oh yes.
Sure, it's got its drawbacks, but it must be handy at times.
Oh, it's immense. It's immense. And then we kind of have to retreat from each other, and then but in 32 feet by 12 foot space in which we live, we get clever and tolerant.
Yeah. Are you actually living at the park at Fintorn?
I live just along the road, just out of the intensity of the actual park itself. I did live there for a while, so I like visiting it, working there, visiting, and then leaving. And it's only 10 minutes away on the bike. It's lovely.
It's quite nice to have your own space. I guess. Sort of
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
So you're actually painting at the moment, Iona?
I'm actually collaging irises, which their shape just intrigues me so much. And I've got all this beautiful paper that's painted already and too good to throw away. So I find it so engrossing and meditative. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
It's a real kind of transition. It's such an overused word at the moment, but it feels real for me when I'm just, I don't know, this whole course has made me question, I don't know if I can even call myself a visual artist anymore. What if this is the end of it?
Mm.
And that has been hugely frightening.
Mm.
You know, this label that I could just say to people, yeah, I'm a visual artist, and great. Well, what do you do? I'm not sure what I do anymore.
Yeah, I'll join you in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I do.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know who I am.
I don't know who I am or what I do. Or what.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really very amazing time.
Yeah. That tricky thing when someone says, "And what do you do?" Like, oh, all right, okay, here we go.
Well, we're not a name is Ramdas spiritual guru teacher. He after months in a kind of deep meditative state, and his Jewish father in New York, in Brooklyn, and said, "So, what exactly do you do? Do you have a job?"
Yes.
We just like bring him crashing down to earth. It's like,
yes.
reality check. From these, very high spiritual states to his father saying, "Do you actually do anything? Do you actually have a job?
Do you actually do anything?"
Mm.
Sounds like that was your experience with your father, Jono.
Sorry, say that again.
Sounds like that was your experience with your father. Mm-hmm.
Where's the bank? If you don't have any money in the bank, you must be a failure.
Yeah.
Then. So this is the kind of
It's hard, isn't it?
that's what the ego does.
Mm.
And you wouldn't expect anything else if it's egoically driven. So I just made a decision very very young age to say, well, actually, I'm not going to do anything that he wants me to do. I'm going to do.
Wow.
Yeah, but then
Difficulties, conflict. It's
it's like the kids at school that have defiance disorder. They'll do the opposite of what everyone says, but they're the ones that change the world.
Yes.
Mm.
I'll be conservative. I doubt it. I'm not white that way, but we choose our parents. It's a very interesting choice I made. It's just perfect in its imperfection. So, all good in a parent. I think that's what we got to see. It's not meant to be perfect on a level of form.
Mm. Certainly isn't perfect.
No. Sally, is that actually a term? Defiance disorder?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Loads of the kids get labelled it.
No, I've never heard that.
Yeah, they're the ones that don't conform, that don't do what they're meant to, that are not following the school's rules. But they're the ones that are like us, they're the ones that are light workers and that have got some special abilities maybe, or they know that it's all rubbish what they're being told, or they just don't believe what the teachers say. And they're the blessings, aren't they? I've got one of those. My youngest son was one of those. And
really,
as long as they're given the freedom, they can go and, do good things. But in the school system, it doesn't work.
Too many labels at schools, isn't there? Just too many labels of ADHD or,
dyslexia.
I have a young one who's typically the same as well. He's in his early 20s, but he wasn't motivated at school, and it was such a shame. And they leave them to one side as if that, you know, he's got to get his own motivation. There's nothing to motivate him. Yet he still goes to be dementia nursing and stuff like that, but he still has lots of kind of hiccups because, you know, I just think the caring nation that we have are really being made to conform into some kind of, you know, especially now since COVID and everything, it's like they're being told all the time, and it's a nightmare, it's a headache. And like you said, it's that society that we're living, that you must do this and you must do that. So there must be a lot of young people that really could do with hearing all this, to be fair.
Yeah, and they'd probably take it to like ducks to water, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Weren't your children, Iona, quite tuned into this work? In Sandy's workshops?
They have all had close hand working experience of Sandy's workshops, all of them. Perhaps less so my oldest son, who was away at university when I used to host Sandy so much. But all of the others have either chosen to take workshops, be present, listen in, and have coped incredibly well. But my oldest son, he does carry around in his wallet a little credit card size list of who he is and his highest self.
Oh, does he? Oh, bless him. How lovely.
Yeah. And however they want to pick it up, or it's just as long as they know that there's a way out, you know, of this ego world.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that will look like, what they'll choose to do, but as long as they know that this isn't it.
Yeah, in 10, 20 years' time, it's good to know there's another doorway to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sandy was a force to be reckoned with, or is a force to be reckoned with, isn't she? She has a very strong message.
Yeah. Pardon?
In my experience, I think in my experience, a lot of people only really come to the course later in life. So in your 20s, maybe even 30s, you're not quite ready.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I mean, there's always exceptions, but because it's such a radical undoing of the ego that you're still busy getting screwed into the ego and this world, and it takes some life experiences to show you that this isn't actually working as I thought it should work, and often that only happens in midlife. You've had some disappointments, some rejection, some pain, whatever form, and then you go, okay, well, is there anything else?
Yeah.
Is this it? Is there actually anything else?
And I think it's good to remember that our children aren't going to follow in our footsteps, that just because we've found this way, it's not their way, is it? So like they might go off in a totally different direction, but what am I saying? I don't know. I just think it's like they know what we do, maybe vaguely, that we're into, but it doesn't mean it's their way out, does it? It's it's interesting. It's like you'd like to teach them what you know, and you'd like to show them what you know, but that's not it. Just my mother showed me something I wouldn't want to know.
But like you said, it's not easy though, Sally, is it? I mean, it could scare a lot of people anyway, couldn't it? And it's not something you can guide people, can't you? But I wouldn't say to anybody, just come along and do it now. I don't think that's ever, it's the only first time I've been doing it, but it's definitely shook me up a bit. And, it's lovely listening to Iona as well about the experience of the ego and that we're all going through it. But it's not something you'd wish on anybody, to be fair.
But there's no avoiding it, is it? If it's your
no, there isn't. Not if you choose this way. If you choose this way, there's no kind of. Do you know what I mean? And I guess that's probably is the ignorance on my part that I've lived it for so long, and then now I'm in it. It's like, whoa, hold on a minute, you know.
But you've been holding it at bay for a while, hadn't you?
Oh yeah,
So now you're in it. You're on fast track. Yeah.
And that's great, isn't it? That you don't notice these crawlings, and it's like you really got to have enough of your own bullshit before you decide to take a step like this.
Yeah.
You know, you really have to kind of look at things and think, oh my gosh, how much more. It's like now when I'm in this, it's like, gosh, you've tolerated a lot. Gosh, you've, compromised a lot. And it really does make you think, but it's your own doing out of whatever experience you were pointed to at the time. But wow, it's a huge eye opener. And like even now, I'm really consciously trying to listen to Jono speak, although he's on the train, because I can always remember Echo Tolle saying that awareness is the key. Even if you're just constantly there's nothing here, but you're listening, and there's no expectations, and you just know you're in the right place. Do you know what I mean?
Beautiful. Yeah.
There's something Jono said on one of the recordings during a meditation. I think there was the dog barking in the meditation, and he said, listen beyond the sound. Oh, I like that. I've been playing with that.
That's why I left it in the recording. I thought.
Was it last week? Was it my dog barking when somebody had come through? No, or was it just?
No, where Jonathan was, I think.
It was on one of the wherever I was. There were dogs, and I was busy recording a meditation. They bark, and in the end, I was okay. Well, it's fine, whatever. It's part of the meditation. Dogs barking, and that's how it is. So don't get upset by it, because that's missing the point. You just got to take whatever comes and go, I'm okay with that. Dog barking, dog not barking. So it's a good practice to go, okay, because life's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be easy to be peaceful. We got to learn to be peaceful no matter what, no matter what's happening.
That's why the movie was fantastic at the weekend. I just thought, in a coffee shop, can you just imagine? And all that stuff's going off, and you're like, wow, and there's still your mom. It was great. It really makes me think about now where I am, and just to stay still in that silence and just let all that chaos it was, I think it's Little Buddha's the same as well, where you see that movie. Amazing how just what we see and what we hear and what we're watching at the minute, it's all leading to the same place.
What was that movie, The Little Buddha?
The Little Buddha, it's a Keanu Reeves film. I mean, that's a good one to watch. I think that's on YouTube as well for free, I think.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
To be honest, guys, I think I'm going to go in the hammock.
Yes,
Iona suggested the hammock. I think it's calling me. It's been really lovely chatting with you in a kind of unstructured way, which is really nice, because I wanted to do that a little bit, because I felt I hadn't connected with you, Iona, and it was nice to connect.
And with you too, Sally. I'm so happy to think of you in the hammock, looking up at the trees in the sky.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you tomorrow or whenever. See
you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. So Susie and Iona, do you want to carry on, do some practice?
I'm happy to carry on.
Yes, I've got about, I can do it for a bit, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen and just where are we? There, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Susie, do you want to read the quote for us, please?
Okay. Oops. You are not limited to this body, to this mind, or to this reality. You are a limitless ocean of consciousness, imbued with infinite potential. You are existence itself.
Mm.
So, any thoughts on that?
Amazing where we come from, because we do think we're limited in the body, don't we? And we are the mind. But I love that, you know, how it finishes off, your limitless ocean of consciousness, where pure existence itself.
Which is, this is the perennial philosophy. Every spiritual teacher, every master who's ever lived has said this in one way or another, using different language sometimes. So, if you can read the first paragraph for us, because there's a bit of teaching around what consciousness actually means, and I want to go through.
Okay. What, today's quote, or but whatever? Today's quote. Today's quote.
Today's quote.
Yeah, today's quote points us inward to what many spiritual teachers call consciousness, and Yeshua calls spirit in A Course in Miracles, which he contrasts with consciousness that he says is correctly identified as the domain of the ego, i.e. a separate sense of self and the thought system this entails.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
No, quite straightforward that bit.
So, Yeshua calls consciousness intellect, mind. Open up thirst. What level are we talking about? So in this descent into hell diagram, we have this is what formless awareness, spirit, which is actually outside any separated consciousness. So it's important to realize that consciousness is the domain of the ego. It's the very foundation of this belief in separation. Consciousness based on that idea, which then leads to a whole set of consequences in time and space that we now seem to be caught up in the dream world. And our job is to escape consciousness, escape entirely any idea of separation, and return our minds to this perfect moments. So this is the hallmark of a non-dual teaching. It says only this is true, only this is real, and anything else, consciousness, any sense of levels, any separation whatsoever, is consciousness, and this must ultimately be undone. This is the teaching. So pure non-dual teaching. So many consciousness is the ultimate, being conscious, but of course in Miracle's terms, there's something that's way beyond it. This may be, to get to this point, if you realize that there's really just one mind, one consciousness behind the illusory universe, then you're not that far off from letting that go and recognizing the pure formless perfect oneness. That's always been there. So it can be a stepping stone, but it's not the end game. To become fully conscious in Michael's terms means that you just realized that there's one ego mind. But you've got to go beyond that into to the pure one that lies beyond that, beyond all thoughts of separation. So that's what he means by spirit. So I don't know, will you read the second paragraph, please?
Yep. I'll just get my tiny phone. Here we go. But whatever you call the spirit, consciousness, God, love, oneness, being, pure formless awareness, and many other names have been used over the millennia, doesn't really matter as long as the substance of what the words are pointing to is the same and unaffected in your perception by the words, because that is what's being pointed to by any words, is limitless and infinite, and therefore beyond definition and words, which by definition seek to define and therefore make separate and limited. So I think it's a point well made that you've made many times, that the words are like a code and they actually stand in the way, but we have to have something, some way of communicating with each other, and words are often what we have. But not to get caught up too much in the semantics of it all. But see the direction of travel arrow, which is to infinity, infinite, beyond definition. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the traps on the spiritual path is to get caught up in the words, and then it becomes dogmatic.
Yes.
It becomes about. Yeshua says this is a place to God. That what this leads to is a universal experience, which is beyond definition, beyond words, beyond any mental conception. It's a pure experience. So the words are very helpful, but ultimately. Okay, so
Yeah.
Happy with that. Should we move on to the next paragraph?
Sure.
Susie, if you want to read, this is indeed a conundrum.
This is indeed a conundrum, and why ultimately consciousness or awareness at its highest level is about pure experience without the need for words, which can only act as signposts to this experience. To illustrate this with a wordly analogy, road signs are useful while you're traveling on a journey, but not once you've arrived at your destination.
Does that make sense?
We give words so many meanings, don't we?
Sorry, say that again.
I mean, we
again,
put,
Susie?
What was that?
he wants you to say it again.
Oh, what, the whole sentence? The whole.
No. What you just said.
Oh, we give words so many meanings, don't we? Yeah. And which you've said, like, you know, in that paragraph, this is indeed a conundrum. If only we didn't use the words like you say, but even when you're going on a road, that I like it. I like the whole thing, that the road signs are useful while you're traveling, but not when you get to your destination.
So they're essential when you're traveling. Otherwise you're going to lose your way. But as you get closer and closer to your destination, they become irrelevant. We all know, like, following, say, Google Maps, it takes you so far, and then you kind of go, oh, well, actually, I don't need it anymore, and you can just shut it down because you know the way. So, spiritually speaking, that's where this is taking us. Is saying, well, let's use these words as useful pointers, mind training. Because how else do you do it? You've got to start somewhere. It's very difficult to teach without words. You can't really convey an experience. How do you explain what your experience is? You can only use words. So they're necessary, but you'll notice over and over the highest experience in this world, the revelation of grace. So I'm not sure how the internet is. So use the signposts as pointers, but don't get attached to signposts. There's a getting stuck. That's the answer, and of course it's not. Signpost just meant to direct you onwards on your journey. It's quite a useful analogy to think about. Okay, so then next one. Happy with that paragraph? I don't know if you can read the next one, but while our minds still perceive time and space.
But while our minds still perceive time and space, the signposts of words play a very important part in our learning and journey to ultimate enlightenment, because they help us to learn to let go of the ego's negativity and replace it with the Holy Spirit's thought system. For example, they are given in the domain of consciousness and perception to help change our minds about the meaning of this domain and eventually transcend it completely. Right. Yeah. So we're being trained. I was going to say like a hormone replacement therapy, like
That's about right.
Yeah, it's pretty right, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
we're again.
being.
Sorry, I faded out there.
I said like hormone replacement therapy. Oh well. I don't think Jono got that, but
no, but I can still keep thinking about that because it seems about on point.
Right, cool. They are given.
Share that.
Oh, okay, I said it's like hormone replacement therapy. Good. I'm glad you got that. It can actually make us remember, recollect what it was like before. Yeah, when things were colorful, joyful, energetic, easy. Not with this kind of blanket of fog and misperception and anxiety. Yeah, actually, that's really apt. I like that.
Oh, it's a good analogy. Hormone replacement.
Yeah.
A mind transplant. That's what's happening here. You're getting a new mind.
A new mind. I like that too. Yeah.
New opera. That's what the Holy Spirit's thought system is, as opposed to the ego. Okay.
Yeah.
You can read, Susie, if you read this quote from section 21 of the Manual for Teachers. Words can be helpful.
Words can be helpful, particularly for the beginner in helping concentration and facilitating the exclusion, or at least the control of of extraneous thoughts. Let us not forget, however, that words are but symbols of symbols. They are thus twice removed from reality.
Twice removed from reality. Any thoughts on that? So, symbol from reality means that they are sets of symbols. So, whatever we see in this world is a symbol, right? Images are symbols. Whatever visually we see, whatever we hear, these are symbols. And then we have words, which are symbols twice removed from true reality, because the symbols describe the symbols. That's why I say symbols twice removed, symbols of symbols. So words are very twice removed from reality, a very long way from what's actually real. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, science is useful while you're traveling on a journey, but not once you've arrived at your destination. While our minds still perceive the world of time and space, outside them, the signposts of words play a very important part in our learning and ultimate enlightenment, because they help us to learn to let go of the ego's negativity and replace it with the Holy Spirit's thought system of unconditional love. So they're given in the unreal domain of consciousness and perception where they're necessary to help us our minds and hearts about it all, about the meaning of this domain, and eventually transcend it completely. So useful tools, very useful signposts, pointers, but no more than that.
Yeah.
And then we discussed in this bonus recording some of these terms, so I thought I'd include them in the email. These are some of the key terms in A Course in Miracles, which kind of like a review of the whole teaching. So we should have a quick look at these. It's just about 10 or 12 of them. So God, Father, Source is pure formless oneness of perfect love, or oneness. So we translate it as this pure formless oneness of perfect love, because it's the very essence, the absolute essence of the awareness that is our true awareness. And this word pure formless came to me after I had a profound experience of exactly that. The 9 days of meditation retreat. This is the only way I could describe it. And then I didn't want to leave out perfect love, so I meant pure formless oneness of perfect love. But again, the words are just pointing you to a state of mind, a state of being. It's way, way beyond words. They don't really do justice. But the reason we use the words and we translate, because the words point you in the right direction. If the words point you to it, experience, that's very helpful. False association with that word. So we use another word to point us more directly to the experience that the word actually is describing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I keep nodding my head as in yes, but yes, I get that. And you both can't see me, and I'm just shaking my head to myself, obviously.
So the Son of God, do you want to?
Do you want me to read that? Is that what you just said? Yeah. Or
yeah, please. Yeah.
So, Son of God.
This one that I'm highlighting.
Yeah. Son of God, the extension of perfect love, that in its unawakened state still thinks it is separate from its source.
Extension of perfect love, but in its unawakened state still thinks it is separate from its source. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does, but I have to admit, I seem to stick with pure formless awareness of perfect love because, like you say, with all these words, when I get stuck on something, I always think about pure formless awareness of perfect love. But it does make it's good because Son of God, as I've read these today, I can see why they're done. But yeah, Son of God.
Well, it's just the extension of this awareness, extension of perfect love, extension of pure formless awareness of perfect love, and that's all we are. We are that awareness. In the end, that's what this is saying. In the end, in truth, there is no separation between that awareness and our own awareness. It's one awareness. That's the very simple truth this is pointing to. So we have words in our separated state to say, okay, well, Son of God or extension of perfect love. And those just point you to an experience of that unity state where you feel, yes, there is just an awareness that I am. And it's ineffable, it's indescribable, but it's source. There's nothing beyond that. That's the awakened state. That seems to be the universal experience of anyone who's truly woken up. They have this experience of just, I am that awareness. I am one with the Father, and He is one with me, and I am one with you, and we're all one. He's saying it's one awareness. That's what he's pointing. He never ever said blasphemy. He just had merged his awareness with that awareness. He understood that there was only one awareness. I am the Father of one. I am the soul. So that's what all these terms are pointing to, is that awareness in ourselves, that we are one. Just one awareness, that's all, nothing else. The extension of that one awareness, that's all we are. And the recognition of that is the merging of the Father with the Son. When we recognize that and say, I am that awareness, and I can claim that and be in that awareness, then mystical merging of the Father and the Son is taking place. Oneness. That's the one process. This is all about. Okay, so happy with something like that? Move on to Christ.
Okay.
Ione, you want to read that?
Christ, the one or true self that is the extension of perfect love and source of the mind's right-minded (brackets Christ vision or perception). So I really like that the true self translation of Christ, because it's just such a welcome clearing in my mind from the vision of Christ, a Christ figure, remote, scary, usually on some Italian statue or nailed to a cross, which was hugely traumatic. Terrible.
Because unfortunately, what's happened is the
Yeah, it is.
And the pain and the suffering and the guilt of suffering for sin, that's all been emphasized. And actually, the whole point of it was the resurrection, to show that there's something beyond that. What they should have done is made the symbol an open tomb. That should have been the symbol of Christianity, not a cross. An open tomb. Freedom. Like, okay,
yes,
symbolizing opening into another dimension.
Yes.
Not the cross, but they focused incorrectly on the crucifixion. resurrection, which is the true message.
And this whole religious industry that is predicated on keeping people stuck and scared and believing and giving tithes to the church.
And you can only do that if people feel guilty and they feel sinful. If they're really liberated, they'll go, why do I need to do this? This is bizarre. I don't need anyone to interpret the truth for me. I know the truth. So I don't need an intermediary. You look at, as you know, I play in the financial world as well. Financial world's all about intermediaries. So you cut out the intermediary, you go direct, and then there's no business model for intermediary.
That's very awkward for some people.
Well, true. It's just a business model. They set themselves up as an intermediary and make huge profits from that intermediation function. And anyone who disturbs the intermediation function and the business model then is seen as an enemy. As Yeshua himself was. Interesting, because he disturbed the religious status in his day.
Right.
Temple. Commercial transactions and slaughter of animals is not what it's about. This is violating the house of God, and because he disturbed the status quo and the whole intermediation function of the religious order at the time, which was the Jewish one, they crucified him. They said, "You've gone too far. You've messed with our business model." Getting serious. We don't mind if you preaching out in the sticks, where Judea, wherever it was. That's not too threatening. If you come into the heart of our control system, into the temple, which symbolized their thought system of control, and you turn the tables up and you give people ideas that this is wrong, then you've taken it too far. And he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that would push it over the edge and that he would be crucified. But that was part of his plan. He understood exactly what he needed to do to really bring his teaching into a world teaching. Because if it hadn't been for that episode, the crucifixion and resurrection, his teaching would not have been well known.
Would you call him
at all?
Would you call him brave for doing that, or just somebody who knew exactly what he had to do?
Yeah, enormously. I'm in awe to do that. Go, okay, this is what I've got to do.
Yeah.
Not because God demands sacrifice, just because in this world, on the level of form, this is my will, but that will be done.
Just lost you there.
I just said, that he had to ultimately surrender to say, not my will, but thy will be done. There's a higher will, a higher power, and if it's calling me, I must do it. I must follow the. Thanks for joining. Okay. All right. Still there?
Me? I'm still here.
Okay, so Spirit.
Okay. Holy Spirit, voice for God, universal inspiration. The remembrance, awareness of oneness, perfect love, which is the reinterpreter of the dream, stroke illusion of form from the perspective of oneness, to return the mind to pure formless awareness of perfect love, stroke oneness, the remaining communication link between love and its apparently separated extensions,
Down there for a bit. So Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit. Remembrance of perfect oneness, which is a reinterpret of the dream or delusion of form from the perspective of oneness. Turn the mind to the pure formless awareness of perfect love. Oneness is a state of perfect oneness of the source. In other words, pure formless awareness of perfect love and its extent. And also the process of the whole extension, realizing this. Because its mind believes it is separate from the source. In other words, the ego. So, oneness is one-ment is the process of the correction of the mind, the healing of the mind, restoration of the mind to its true state of pure formless awareness of perfect love and its extension. And the process of the whole extension of the mind, realizing this, letting go of the belief in separation and turning its mind, its awareness purely to the source. Salvation is the process of letting go of all egoic thought. So salvation is the process of letting go of all egoic thought, unloving thoughts and emotions, and storing the mind to pure formless awareness of perfect love. Well, it's usually translated as awakening, alternative language. Salvation or awakening. Forgiveness is the process of letting go of all negative thoughts and emotions to restore the mind to its true state of pure formless awareness of perfect love. So the letting go of all blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And the miracle, which is the result of changing one's perception from a negative to a loving one, that leads to an awareness of the true self of Christ. This may have tangible effects in the world of form, to which this world sometimes refers, such as a miraculous event or circumstance. So, for example, healing of the body, a special relationship. It doesn't have to have any tangible effects to qualify as a miracle, because it's primarily correction of perception as a result of a fundamental change of mind about the meaning of any situation based on a foundation of perfect love or oneness, rather than a foundation of separation leading to a letting go of a false belief in separation and acceptance of the truth of oneness. It's a correction in perception. Fundamental level leads to a fundamental change of mind. So you know, interpreting everything you experience through the filter of oneness. And then there's the ego, which is the belief in separation in all its forms, to separate itself. Belief in separation in all its forms, separate itself concept, until it created itself. Just a belief in separation of all consequences of that belief. So if we go to the sent into hell diagram, it's at the top level, ego, consciousness, belief in separation, and everything that came from that belief. The entire world, the universe, all the problems, all the difficulties, pain and suffering, sickness and death come from this thought system. Which leads us nicely into projection. Is the ability of the ego or the belief in separation to project its thoughts outside of the mind, make it all a form, seemingly outside of the mind, which is it's really just projected thought, so energy is projected thought. So the Big Bang was just a projection of thought brought into seeming physical existence, all energy and matter. So thought hurled outwards becomes energy. So we live rather than in a great machine, just the Newtonian concept, we live in a great thought. As James Jeans pointed out in the 1930s after quantum mechanics came in. The universe is a great thought rather than a great machine. In fact, it's a delusional thought. A delusion of separation. It's now taken form and seems to be real. So now as seemingly separate ego cells living in bodies, we continually project our thoughts out to other people, things. So we don't have to take responsibility for them. So for example, we blame other people for our problems. Just trying to project our guilt for separation onto others to make them guilty and get ourselves off the hook. Imagine punishment by God that we fear. Deny, destroying love in our hearts, and then we don't want to be punished. We don't like the guilt, so we project it onto others and say they're the guilty ones. We're off the hook because they're guilty. That's how ego works. So perception is the way in which we regard and understand and interpret the sensual experience of separate people, living creatures and objects in the world of time and space, seemingly outside of us, in which our bodies and senses produce. So perception is a product, projection, and we see the visions of real, and it's produced by our senses, give us a sense of experience of separate people, living creatures, objects in the world of time and space. So projection and perception reinforce each other, and these are the foundations of the dream. As I project, so I project something falsely, then I perceive it to be real. Perception reinforces the projection, and it reinforces the seeming belief in separation, driving all of it. And finally, we have the body as a manifestation or the embodiment of this belief in separation, to make its separate self-concept and the world that it was created apparently real. So, body is just a projection of the mind to make the belief in separation real. So, there's a little summary of some of the key terms in A Course in Miracles, a reinterpretation of them. In some instances, a translation of them to make them understandable. So I hope that's it's been helpful for you. So just moving on to our lesson very briefly. It's a short review lesson, so just going to go over the key ideas. Lesson 177, God is only love, and therefore so am I. That's the central idea, that's the kind of wrapper of the sandwich, which you should repeat before, after, between each idea. So, spiritual sandwich, life. God is only love, and therefore so am I. There is no death, son, or extension of God. All perfect love is free. So there is no death. Statement of absolute truth. How can there be death if there's eternal life? One or the other is true, and both cannot be true. So there's no death because only eternal life is true. The Son, or the extension of God, which is perfect love, is free. Because of that, we are free from all forms of death. Death takes many forms in this world.
Good afternoon, Lindsay, your chair manager speaking. Just running a little behind schedule there. So apologies for the delay. Just running behind schedule, and I'm sure we'll make that up as we go along today. Time.
Sorry, I was just on a train, so I had to stop it for an announcement. there is no death. Extension of perfect love is free. It's a step in the truth of death in all its forms. Death comes in many forms, as Yeshua. Any slight discomfort, pain, suffering, it's all forms of death. It acknowledges that something other than perfect love is possible. Deny death, which seems to be absolute truth in this world. Yeshua overcame death through the crucifixion and the resurrection. So the resurrection of our minds. And finally, this is 164. Now am I one with perfect love that is my source. The original is now we one with him who is our source. Now am I one with perfect love that is my source. It's much more direct. So that's hence the translation. I'm one with essence of perfect love that is my source. I claim that. Another way of saying that, God is only love and therefore so am I. It must be as my source is. My source is love, then this must be my reality too. Logically, that is impeccable and infallible. God is only love and therefore so am I. I think I'm going to leave it. No one else in the session, so thank you for joining. Those who joined, if you listened to record, that was useful. It wasn't a normal session, it was quite quiet, but I hope you found that helpful, and I wish you only love, that you would connect with this perfect love that is your source, realize that you're free in that, and there is no death. So God is free. Okay, sure. I'm signing off now. Thanks. Tomorrow afternoon. Well, actually, I'll stream tonight live. I'll be doing a talk, class on how to master the art of letting go and radically transform your life is the title. So join us 7:30 p.m. UK time, 8:30 p.m. South African time. In the Zoom room, you can join online or you can watch the recording. So signing off then for now. Wishing you much love and peace.